Today we're going to do the next topic of the chapter New Centers of Power, and that is ASEAN. So first we need to understand what is ASEAN, right? ASEAN, if you look at here, ASEAN is an association of 10 countries in Southeast Asia that aims to economic accelerated growth, social and development. Southeast Asia. Now, so where is Southeast Asia? If you look at this map, this is a map of Asia. If I divide it into 4 different directions, okay, the east, this will be east, west, pen is not working, west, and south, north. So Southeast Asian region, India is not included in the Asian country. Okay, so this is this area. This the closer view of the Asian member state countries. This is a map of the ASEAN. There are 10 countries, as I said before, in ASEAN, and somebody has given a very nice idea of remembering the names of ASEAN in a YouTube that I saw. So please pay attention over here. It's in order to remember names, you need to remember T, V, then we've got clip, CLIP, off, you're going to keep it silent. Okay, then we have got M, B, and S. Now T over here would be T over here is, we have got Thailand, V would be Vietnam, C Cambodia, then L would be Laos, I would be Indonesia, P would be Philippines, off we were going to keep it silent, M here would be Malaysia. Okay, then we've got B here would be Brunei, then B would be Burma. Burma, although it is Myanmar, but then the other name for Myanmar, the early name is Burma. So we're going to, in order to remember it, we're going to remember it by the early name Burma. And then we have got S, Singapore. Okay. Then we have the members of ASEAN with the founding members and the other countries who joined later with the year of their joining. Okay. All right, then we're going to talk a little more about ASEAN. ASEAN, like European Union, they've also got an ASEAN flag. You can see the stocks up here in the flag, and then we have got ASEAN motto as well, which is one vision, one identity, one community. We've also got a founding day of the ASEAN, that is 8th August 1967, and we've got ASEAN anthem. Reasons for formation of ASEAN. Now, for this, we have to go back to Second World War. Before Second World War, many of the Asian and African countries, they were under colonial rule, either under European countries or under Japan. Now, because of repeated colonialisms, these countries, they suffered severe economic and political consequences. However, after Second World War, when they gained their independence, they were politically and economically extremely backward. So the question that lay before them was how to build their nation. And because of the Cold War that was going on between USA and USSR, there was also this pressure to join either one of the two power blocs. However, as we discussed in the first chapter, many of these countries, since they have gained their independence after such a long period of time, they did not want to lose their freedom by joining either one of these two power blocs. So many initiatives actually were taken by these regions. For example, one of the initiative was the Banton Conference, through which NAM was formed. However, NAM for them was ineffective. It didn't solve their problem. And on top of that, because of the poverty, because of this economic backwardness, there was a whole lot of regional instability that was going on at that period of time. So the need for the stability of region and the need for the economic development, it led to the formation of ASEAN. And that's how ASEAN came into being on 8th August 1967 after the signing of the Bangkok Declaration. Now, the association has its headquarters in Jakarta, that is in Indonesia, and as of 2020, Vietnam holds the chairmanship of ASEAN. Now, this chairmanship of ASEAN is done on a rotation basis on alphabetical order, and as I just said, as of 2020, now Vietnam as of now is the chairman of ASEAN. We then have the objectives. There are two main objectives. First one is accelerate economic growth. The main aim is to accelerate economic growth, and through that, social progress and cultural development. Okay, and second one is to promote regional peace and stability, and they aim for the promotion of peace and stability by following the rules of law and the principles of United Nations Charter. These are the two main objectives. Besides that, you can also add points from the objectives of EU, because most of these objectives are pretty same, with exception to the common currency, that is the euro. You can skip that part. All the others you can just add under this objective of ASEAN if it comes for 6 marks. If it's for 2 marks, then you can just go with these 2 points. We then have this ASEAN Community. Now, ASEAN primarily was an economic community. However, with the passage of time, they wanted to broaden, or they wanted to expand the community, and they wanted to follow the European Union. So following the European Union, these ASEAN countries, during their 9th summit in 2003, they decided that ASEAN Community be established. So this ASEAN Community came into existence in 2015. All right. The decision for the formation of ASEAN was done in 2003. However, it actually came into existence in 2015. And we've got 3 pillars under that. The first one is ASEAN Security Community. Then we've got ASEAN Economic Community and ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. So the first one we have is the ASEAN Security Community. Now, ASEAN strongly believes that outstanding territorial disputes should not escalate into armed confrontation. Or basically, any territorial disputes should not turn into war. Now, in order to achieve this, they came up with several agreements, and by 2003, ASEAN had several agreements in which the member states, they have promised to uphold peace, neutrality, then we have got cooperation, then we've got non-interference and respect for national differences and sovereign rights. And whenever there is any sort of war, they will play neutral. Okay, they'll not play any bias, and they'll also try to resolve the problems by mediation. All right, and then in 1994, then we've got this ASEAN Regional Forum, which was established. And now this ASEAN Regional Forum, or the ARF, this is an organization which carries out the coordination of security and the foreign policy. The second pillar is the ASEAN Economic Community. Now, ASEAN was and still remains principally an economic association. ASEAN, although is much smaller than the United States and the European Union, however, its economy is growing much faster than them, and that makes this community really, really important. Now, one of the main objectives or the aims of the ASEAN Economic Community is to create a common market, and they also aim to make the production base within the Asian states itself. And they also, besides these, they also aim to provide aid or help to the social and economic development which is within this ASEAN region. And one of the most main important objective also is to improve the current or the existing ASEAN dispute settlement mechanism, to resolve the economic disputes. The Kason Tanda Kisi ASEAN Quran Ranalola Nyokta in the Yoversion Nyokta di Seagi and Quran Zugita Kandalam the Luxudo Jurwa Didi any Yarge Kantayagila any Konsumichi wrestler. And the final we have is the creation of a free trade area which is for the investment, labor and services. Okay, this free trade agreement that was done in 27th February 2009, and as of now we have got the free trade area is prevalent or is practiced with the with of course all the ASEAN member states and 6 dialogue partners, that is China, Japan, Korea, India, Australia and New Zealand. These are not members of ASEAN. However, they have got they are known as dialogue partners because, and they have the free trade agreement with ASEAN. And the third pillar that we have is the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community, also known as ASCC. Under this, the objectives, there are 2 main objectives. The first one is to lift the quality of the life of its people, and this is done through cooperative activities that are people-oriented, people-centered, environmentally friendly, and they do it on a wide range of areas such as education, we have got such as youth and sports, social welfare and development, women, labor, health, and so on. And the second main objective of ASCC is the promotion of sustainable development, and this is done so as to face new and emerging challenges in ASEAN. And yes, it is not necessary for you to learn the areas. These areas is just to give you a brief idea. We then have the Asian Vision 2020. Under this, we have got 3 points. The first one is outward-looking role. Now, ASEAN hopes that it will become very strong in economy, that it will be able to play an important role in international affairs. So these hereby focusing more on economy. And second one we have is the encouragement to negotiations. ASEAN also encourage negotiations to solve conflicts in the region, and they would also encourage the spirit of cooperation and brotherhood. They do not believe in using force. All right. The third one we have is the mediatory role of ASEAN. Now, ASEAN also would encourage respect for sovereign rights of the member and play the role of mediator to solve disputes among the states. For example, the way they have done in Cambodia conflict as well as the East Timor conflict. Now, the ASEAN strength, or what makes ASEAN an alternative center of power or a new center of power. The first one we have is ASEAN is one of the fastest growing economy, as mentioned earlier. Although ASEAN is much smaller than the United States and European Union, however, its economy is growing much faster than them. And the second one we have is its ability to interact with its members, with dialogue partners, and with other regional associations. We also call it as an ASEAN way. All right, they have got they strong belief in negotiation, the interaction. That's one of the main strength of ASEAN. And the third one is it is the only regional forum in Asia to discuss issues related to security and politics. And the final one we have is ASEAN being economically strong. It has a whole lot of influence both in the region, that is within the ASEAN region, as well as beyond. And this is clearly understood from the non-ASEAN countries trying to have relationship with ASEAN. We then have the difference between the European Union and ASEAN. Now, European Union, it has a supranational structure, meaning it is an international body which is beyond the country's boundary. It has its own parliament. All the members of the European Union are elected by the representatives of these EU members. All right, so this is kind of a higher the power of nations is given a higher authority for decision making. However, in ASEAN, it has minimal institutionalization. ASEAN does not have a parliament like European Union, or it does not have a higher authority like the European Union. Okay, and second one we have is the ASEAN Way. The ASEAN Way is a form of interaction in which they believe in non-interference, informality, and non-confrontation and non-use of force. All right. Whenever there is any sort of conflict, they try to solve it through cooperative measures. However, this is completely different from European Union. European Union, as we have understood from the earlier chapters, that not only have they interfered in the other countries, but that have also used force. The third difference is the currency. European Union, they have got a common currency, which is euro. However, ASEAN does not have that. And then, of course, European Union is composed of European countries, and ASEAN is composed of C, that is Southeast Asian nations. All right. And the final difference that we have is ASEAN is primarily an economic organization. However, European Union is economic as well as political organization. And finally, we have India and ASEAN. Now, India during the Cold War years, they did not pay much attention to ASEAN. It was only in the recent years that they have started to pay attention and develop their relationship with ASEAN. So ASEAN and India, they signed a free trade area, and it came into effect on 21st January 2010. And as of now, India is also the fourth largest trading partner of ASEAN. And with this, we have come to the end of the topic, that is ASEAN. And I hope you have understood the topic. The next topic that we're going to do is SARC. Until then, you guys take care, and I'll try to meet you soon, okay? Bye-bye. 제일 제요. 상무 잡고 나오나? 제일 제요.